The Kentucky Small Business Development Center is a statewide, nationally accredited program that provides no-cost, confidential business coaching and training services. Whether you're just getting started or are ready to expand, we have the tools, resources, and expertise to help you succeed. We're part of a national network, America's SBDC, with over 1,000 centers across the nation. To learn more about how the Kentucky SBDC can serve you, please visit KentuckySBDC.com or email us at info@KentuckySBDC.com. You can also reach us by calling 888-414-7232. Thank you for joining today's webinar. The chat feature is available for you to ask questions and interact with today's speaker. Please take a moment to introduce yourself and where you are watching from today.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. As you are coming in and getting settled down for the presentation today, go ahead and put your name and where you're joining us from today in the chat box. We will also use the chat feature for questions, and we will kind of hold those to the end of the presentation. So don't worry if we don't get right on your question. We'll do those as they come through. And I've already seen people are in the chat room. Jordan, welcome. Katie. I'm Tanya Parsons, and I am a business coach and the center director for the Lexington SPD Center. And I'm super glad to have you guys here today. We already got people in from Northern Kentucky. So in Beattyville, thank you, Vicki, for joining us. So keep those chats coming in. And I am going to take a minute. I'm really excited to introduce our presentation today. It's going to be done by our presenter, Chelsea Creekmore. Chelsea is the CEO of Creekmore Marketing, an award-winning digital marketing agency in Nicholasville, Kentucky. She started Creekmore Marketing in 2013 in her bed, in her pajamas. So how awesome is that? Today, they are one of Kentucky's largest digital marketing agencies with 46 team members, and they're still growing. Chelsea's proud to represent women in technology and is thankful for everyone who supports minority-owned businesses. And so, Chelsea, I know that I'll make sure you got settled back in. Technology is wonderful, and we use it all the time. But if you are ready, I'll turn it over to you, and you can get started.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Tanya. Very excited to be here. Thank you for everyone who's on this presentation. Really excited to talk about the 8 pillars of digital marketing success in 2022. So let's dive on in. So Tanya already gave me a great introduction, but just a little more background. I started Creekmore Marketing in 2013 in bed in my PJs. And 8 years later, we're a multi-million-dollar agency with clients all over the US and Canada. So it's been a great ride. We're really proud to be one of Kentucky's largest digital marketing agencies. And I had to include this slide. This is my husband, Corey, and my daughter, Kylie Bell. She's going to be turning 2 this month, which is wild. And here is our team. And of course, the cutest members of our team, the fur babies. These first 2 are mine, Layla and Sophie. All righty, so we're going to dive into the 8 pillars of a strong digital presence. And those are as follows: strong logo and branding, effective website design, search engine optimization, pay-per-click advertising, social media marketing, reputation management, retargeting and geofencing, and a strong process to nurture leads. So we are going to focus on the first 2 here, strong logo and branding and effective website design. So first, I want to talk through 2022 web design trends. So over the past couple of years, we have seen a huge focus on websites that are very clean and very white, lots of negative space. And we're starting to see that change going into the new year. So we are seeing this first design, Modern Gallery is what we call it, and it is almost kind of like a Pinterest vibe on your website. So you can see here these really beautiful modern galleries. It's still very focused on the images. There is still some white and negative space, but it's not as kind of stark as some of the previous popular designs over the last couple of years. So we love this one, super, super pretty. And the other one that's growing in popularity is Luxe Dark Mode. So, and just dark mode websites in general are growing very popular. So people switching away from that white to really nice dark backgrounds with white or lighter text on them really helps those images pop. And a lot of websites, so we've had people come to us recently. We do website design at Creekmore Marketing, and we've had people come and say, hey, you guys built my website a year ago. Can you transition it to dark mode? And that's actually a very easy thing for us to do. So we started doing that a lot more, and are going to be designing a lot more of these sites. So if you do have an existing site, there's a very high chance that your web designer could convert this without you having to redesign the site completely. And if you need help with that, you can always reach out to me. I'd love to help you. So next, modernizing your logo. So a lot of our clients are looking into redesigning their logos in 2022 to appeal to today's modern consumer. So some are completely redesigning their logos, while most of them are simply giving it a refresh. So modernizing it while still maintaining the integrity of the original design. I know that's super important. A lot of people don't want to start from scratch, especially if they already have a lot of materials out there in the world, van wraps, print materials, business cards, all that good stuff. But when we talk about why design, oh, Sarah, yes, I saw your note about dark websites using less electricity on users' devices. There you go. So that's great. Good question, Liz. So yes, a strong logo is really important. And so we work with a lot of businesses in the home improvement, interior design space, and we see a lot of logos that were designed 20 plus years ago that looked great at the time, but now are very, very outdated. And, it definitely depends on the industry that you're in, but your logo really needs to reflect and appeal to the people that you are selling to, right? So it can set you apart from your competition, attract new customers, inspire brand loyalty. And yeah, for anyone in the design space, especially if someone's coming to you for design advice, or even just any industry where people really care about the look and feel that they're getting, which really ends up being most, it's really important. So I'll share just a couple of examples that our amazing logo designer and graphic designer, Emma Preston, put together. So here's one that she redid. I should have had the before and afters in here because it is a huge improvement. And here's one that we did locally for Catherine's School of Aesthetics that we really, really loved doing. So, and these are very, very modern. You don't have to go this modern, but it is definitely something to consider next year. And then even just moving into the coming years, probably something that's worth doing every, I would say, maybe 5 to 10 years, depending on what your competitors are doing. So, so now we're going to dive into effective website design. We're going to go through a couple of things that you'll want to check off and make sure your website checks off these boxes. And if you don't have an existing website, these are great things for you to keep in mind when you are either building a new website yourself or hiring a web design agency to look into. So these are going to be, the slides are going to be distributed afterwards, and the replay will be here as well. So don't feel like you have to write every single thing down. But the first thing is responsiveness. So your website needs to respond to the size of the screen that it's being viewed on. It's really important on mobile, which accounts for over 50% of website traffic and growing more and more every day. And according to Google, if users enjoy a positive experience with your site, they're 67% more likely to convert into a lead or sale. Oh, and Justin, I just saw your note saying that it's not working, no sound or video. Is anyone else having this issue? you guys could pop in the comments and let us know, that would be great. All right, and I know there's a little delay, so I'm going to carry on, but I will keep an eye on that. So, yes, so having a responsive site is really important. So take a look at this compared to this site. So this site is responsive. You'll notice that it's adjusted to the phone size. It has this nice little easy to use menu up here, rather than this one that's very difficult to see here. The font is bigger. We don't have these super tiny little buttons that are difficult to click. We actually have these really nice email and call buttons here. So this is a responsive site. This is not. There's actually something called the Google Mobile Friendly Test that you can do a search for. It's completely free. You can pop your website URL in, and it'll run a test to tell you if you are passing their mobile friendly test. And that is very important for ranking well on Google. If your site does not pass, generally they're going to push you down in the search results and favor sites that have a better user experience on mobile. So moving on, call to action buttons. So this is one of the most important things that you should take away from this webinar when it comes to your website. So it's really important for your website. Think about it this way. Your website could be beautiful, designed very well, very appealing, but if it's not designed to convert visitors into customers, then essentially you just have an online brochure, which is great, but your website really should act as an online salesperson. It should convince people and entice them to contact you, make it easy on them to contact you, call you. If you have a store, visit your storefront, email you, shop online, whatever it might be. So call to action buttons are a really great way to do this. They can 4x your website's conversion rate, which is pretty crazy. And the most important factors to consider when you're adding call to action buttons on your site, as you can see right here in these examples, they should be impossible to miss. Unless they float with you as you scroll and kind of follow you along the way, then they need to be repeated multiple times as you scroll. We don't want someone going all the way down to the bottom and having to scroll all the way back up if you have a lot of content to be able to contact you. They should give customers options. So shop online, call us now, visit a store. No, those are very different customer journeys. People want options. And then two, in some instances, it's really good to, in your buttons, include free. So for example, free in-home consultation or something like that, that kind of overcomes any objections that people might have. Free, no obligation, cancel anytime. That can really help a lot. So really excited to share with you. This is a brand new service at Creekmore that we've developed. And it's a way to essentially supercharge your website with converting call to action buttons without having to redesign your site. So a lot of people come to us and they're like, my website, whether it's beautiful or not, it's not converting into customers. So I need a redesign. Well, now you don't need that. And essentially this is something that I'll show you what it looks like, but it almost kind of looks like a web chat. So there's a little button in the bottom right-hand corner. It can pop up with whatever text you want or optionally not pop up. But when you click this button, it's going to expand and you can customize this with your branding and have whatever buttons here that you want, but show people exactly what options they have to contact you and do business with you, right? So here's an example of what it looks like on a website. So ready to transform your space. This is an interior design company. So ready to transform your space. Our design team is here to help. Visit a showroom or take advantage of our free shop at home service. If you click the Contact Us Now button, it's going to pop up and give you options. So, and of course you can exit out of it. So it's non-intrusive, but it really is great. And it'll float with you as you scroll. So from any page on your site, from any position on the site, your customers are going to be able to contact you. And you can even put offers in here. If you have coupons or specials, that can be promoted in this section as well. So this is a service that we offer. And for anyone on the webinar who's interested in it, you will get 50% off the monthly fee and all of the setup costs waived. So this is normally $150 to set up and $100 a month. But for anyone who wants it, it's only $50 a month. This is also something too that if you have an existing site and you want to look into how you can build this out on your own site, definitely adding just these quick buttons is a very easy thing that you should be able to do on any website. And if you need help with that, reach out to us. All right, so let me move on to the next point. So load speed. So this is really important. Your website should load in 3 seconds or less on desktop and mobile. In May of this year, Google released an algorithm update called Core Web Vitals, which essentially measures the speed and usability of your website. So it's become really important for driving leads and for ranking well on Google. Now, and this is a pretty crazy graph that Google has created to show you, as page load time increases, the probability of someone bouncing off your site without taking any action or visiting more than one page increases a lot. So 1 to 3 seconds, it increases by 32%. Once you get to 5 seconds, it's at 90. 6 seconds, it's at 106. 10 seconds, it's at 123 and percent. And we had someone come to us recently who was spending a lot of money on ads. So they were spending $3,000 a month on Google pay-per-click ads, and they were not getting any business. And they were like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I know we have a really good budget. Please help me. I can't figure this out. We ran a speed test on their site, and it was taking 12 seconds to load. So essentially, they were taking all that money, throwing it out the window because no one was waiting for it to load. And I'll show you. So this is a free report that we can run for anyone on this webinar that I would love to send you if you'd like to know what your site speed is like. This is one that we ran. So for any of you who follow, okay. So Sarah, good question. So this is saying just the probability of someone bouncing is increasing by this amount, not that your bounce rate will be over 100%, because you're right, it cannot be over 100%. Good question. So anyway, I'm sure many of you know about Kentucky Sports Radio. A couple months ago, they released a new website, and there were quite a few they announced it on social media, and some people were commenting saying, hey, your website speed is like it's not good. And so we were like, let's run a test and see what it ranks at. And I'm interested to see, I don't know if they fixed it since I've last checked, but when we ran this, it got an F. And it shows you these are the web vitals. It was not passing 2 of 3 of Google's core web vitals for just how quickly the page loads. So if we dove into this further, we saw that it took 12.2 seconds to load, which is wild. And in this report, it'll actually tell you exactly what you need to do to fix this. So one of their biggest things was just not having properly sized images. They uploaded full-size images without, you really should be optimizing them and reducing the file size without reducing the quality, of course, but that makes a really big difference in load speed. There are lots of other things, some of them more technical, but this will outline what you need to do to fix it. And it's something that if you have the capability to do, you can. We can help with it, or you can even take it to your existing web developer and they can implement it from there. So, but I would definitely recommend this, and we can send you, your load speed is going to be different on desktop than it is on mobile. So it's important to look at it on both ends. So next, usability. So when we look at usability, we are considering that customers should be able to contact you from every page on your website. They should not have to go to the contact page to contact you. That's just one extra step in the way. It should be easy for customers to find what they're looking for. Sounds pretty simple. In theory, you're like, duh, that's what a website should do. But we've had some people come to us and their menu will say things like, who we are and to the trade, and things that make sense in their industry to them, but it's verbiage that's people are like, to the trade, what does that even mean? And so it's things like that you really need to think about. What is the most user-friendly way that I can name all of my links, everything in the menu that will attract people there? We even had some people in their menu just putting brand names of the products that they offer and not putting what the actual product was. So a lot of people, if they weren't familiar with the brand, they didn't even know what that product was. So that's something to keep in mind in your menu. It should operate smoothly on all devices. So it should be different on mobile, easier to use than the desktop version. And then your contact form should be as easy to complete and ask as few questions as possible. So this is a really important one. We always recommend just doing name, email address, and phone number. And you can have a little reCAPTCHA at the bottom too to prevent people from prevent you from getting a lot of spam on the site as well. But we've seen some people who have submit your full address and tell us what the best time to contact you is and what device would you prefer, email, phone. So all of these things, it's just, I think when people look at it and they're like, oh gosh, that's 7 questions to answer, that they're less likely to fill it out, especially if they're busy in the middle of something. So, all right. So next, powerful offer. So giving your website visitors an incentive to contact you is a really powerful way to drive more leads. And it's really effective if you can give your visitors options on how to redeem it. So this is just a Creekmore example, but contact us now, you get a free website review plus $150 off marketing or design. And you can choose, call us, text us, fill out a form, whatever you might prefer. And so this is even recommended even if you are targeting a high-end customer that you think, you know, I don't want to discount myself. My customer isn't price sensitive, right? We have a lot of people who come to us and say that. But still, psychologically, everyone likes to feel like they're getting a good deal and saving money, even high-end consumers. And if you position it in the right way, it definitely doesn't need to sound like it's discounting something that's really valuable, but more just doing a favor to the customer, adding value to them as a thank you for contacting you and starting the process of potentially doing business or shopping online, whatever it might be, right? And if you need help with this, if you're not sure what offer to create, we help all of our clients in pretty much every industry come up with powerful offers. So would love to help you brainstorm on that. So next, trust signals. So trust signals on your website are things like testimonials, seals of different organizations and affiliations that you have. So for us, Google Partner, Minority Women Business Enterprise Certified, things like that. And then depending on your industry, you can also have case studies or statistics there as well. When you think about adding testimonials to your site, it's really good if you can specify where those testimonials are from. So rather than just you uploaded a testimonial that is just on your website, if you were to share like, oh, check out this review from Google or Yelp or whatever it might be, that's something that people already inherently trust a little more than just a review that you uploaded to your site. And then also making sure that the reviews are detailed and believable. So not reviews that are like, great company, 10 out of 10, would recommend, but more like, I worked with this organization and Sharon was so wonderful and so attentive to me. And we had great results working with them, things like that, to where, and even if they can talk about the services or products that you offer, that sort of context will make it much more believable when people read it. And then next, design. So websites should be refreshed or redesigned every 3 to 5 years to stay modern and up to date. In some industries, you can get away with longer, but if your website is an important part of your business and lead generation for you, 3 to 5 years for sure. So a couple things to think about with design that we haven't already covered. So less is more. A cluttered website can be overwhelming and it can increase the risk of someone bouncing. High quality images should appeal to your target audience, sell the value of your brand, and they also need to be crystal clear. No blurry images on your site. The site is easy to read and navigate, and then also make sure you get it tested and assessed by at least 20 people. That can be friends and family. It would be great if it was customers as well. And then also giving people the disclaimer of like, hey, be honest, you're not going to hurt my feelings. What do you think? Because sometimes we think, as business owners, the website's great, we love it, but then other people find it's difficult to see. There's not enough contrast in the colors, things like that will be really good for you to know and take into account. And this is not actually, I don't have a slide on this, but now that we brought up contrast, I would like to just share this with you. So it's also important to make sure your website is accessible to people who might be visually impaired or have hearing impairments as well. There's something called Audio Eye. It's a service that you can pay for and integrate into your site. If you go to creekmoremarketing.com, you'll actually see this in action. So it's got a little icon at the bottom, and then it allows users to make all these different sorts of changes to your site to make it more easily navigated for them. It's got options for people with dyslexia of different ways to arrange the fonts, I suppose. It's got a lot of really cool stuff, but that's definitely an important thing to consider. Even from a legal perspective, I know that they're cracking down more and more on that. So I would recommend you guys check that out. AudioEye.com. Okay, so Lisa, before we continue on, I saw your question here. So are stock images or actual photos from your event's office better? So I would typically we do a combination for our clients. And I would say it really comes down to the quality of the images. So I think it's really important to, unless you have a professional photographer coming in and have really good lighting on your images, chances are they're probably not the best ones to maybe have as like those main featured image on the homepage of your site. Now, any images that you take would be great, like of your office or events, let's say, those would be great to add on the about page, maybe have a portfolio page or something else to highlight your own images. But in that main featured section, unless you have really good quality images, I would probably choose stock images. And I would say there's a real art and science to selecting stock images because, a lot of stock images can be kind of cheesy, gimmicky, look like you've seen it a million times all over the web. But actually all of the examples that I shared with you of the websites that we looked at earlier were stock images. So we use Adobe Stock for stock images. They have a really, really good selection. Sometimes you have to dig a little bit, but you can usually always find a really good quality image for any industry. So good question. Alrighty, so this is an example of an out-of-date website. So I hope that whoever Reciprocate is not on this webinar. Not trying to poke fun at you, but as you can see, it's just very cluttered. There's a lot going on. Your eye does not know where to go first. And it's overwhelming, right? Next, this one's slightly better, but still generally a style that was used 5+ years ago on websites. So something that would just need to be redesigned. And here's an example again of something that's very modern, this new gallery style, this Pinterest style. If you have lots of good images, it's really good to do. Now, it's not always, there's some select industries where there really aren't good enough images to share, I would say. I'm trying to think of one, but even like plumbers, you can probably find good images on stock. But if you're in an industry where you're really not sure if you're going to be able to find good images, just reach out to me and I'm happy to help. There's some creative places you can go to usually find some. So. All right, so next we are going to dive into search engine optimization and reputation management. So it is foundational, extremely important, and the key to getting lots of leads from Google is to be the clear choice in your market. So essentially, this is the business with the most and the best reviews who is found at the top of search results, right? And if you're a local business and you're looking here, let's say someone's searching for CPA near me. We've got these 3 options here, right? So we've got this accounting company with 48 reviews and a 4.9 star rating. We've got this other one here, Dillon Tax Service with 4.1 rating and 14 reviews. And then we've got this CPA here who doesn't have any reviews. It is safe to say that Revo is getting most, if not all of the leads when people are doing this search, which is probably a significant part of their business and income. So it definitely reviews, I would say, with the call to action buttons and reviews, those are the 2 most important things to take away from this that'll really, really help you grow. And I will say with this example, if Revo was 2nd or 3rd, they would still be getting the most leads. As long as you're in the top 3 and you have the most and best reviews, then you are the clear choice. And we've done this all over the country, and we have businesses who will see hundreds of thousands of dollars swing in their revenue just as soon as they achieve this. They'll start to see that income grow. It's crazy. It works. According to Bright Local, nearly 4 in 5, 79% of consumers say they trust reviews that they read online as much as personal recommendations. So very, very big deal. All right. So how do you get reviews if you are not a volume service? Jeremy, that is a great question. So obviously the businesses who work with more customers have the opportunity to get more reviews. But I know in some instances, and some people are comfortable with this, others are not. I'll leave this up to you, Jeremy. But in some instances, people will just have their professional network leave them reviews and just kind of attest to their professionalism. If nothing else, like if they haven't personally used them. So people in the SBDC, people in your network that you know, really anyone can leave a review. It's not a requirement for Google that you have to have worked with that company to leave a review. So I would say professional testaments are a really good way to build those up. And then next, all right, so just a couple quick housekeeping things and steps that you can take if you are starting from the ground up on SEO. Also, we offer this as a service. This is our bread and butter. We do a lot of SEO work for our clients to help them get in this position because there are hundreds of factors involved. But I'm going to share the most important steps if you are doing this on your own. So first, you're going to want to claim your company on Google My Business. This is going to allow you to collect and respond to reviews and also fill out all the information on this listing with everything that your business offers. So you need to put the right categories on your listing, for example. You need to build out your products and services, have the right phone number. Google has added so many new features that this listing on Google, think of it as your second website. And really, I would say, think of it as your primary website to some degree, because once you get in this position, and we see it across the board, you will be getting far more leads directly from Google than you will on your website. So now you still have to have a website because you're still going to get lots of people going to the site. But this Google, the more they build out this Google My Business listing, it's like your own little mini website on Google. So, and that's just with Google My Business. It's free. If anyone calls you and tells you you have to pay for it, that is spam. Don't listen. Okay, so next, you want to find out what keywords your customers are using when they search. There are lots of great tools that you can use for this that are all free. So this one, there's Google Search Console, Google Ads Keyword Planner, Answer the Public, and Google Trends. So Answer the Public's pretty cool because you can see we're definitely seeing an increase in people searching by questions. So like, what is the best restaurant near me? What's the best Mexican restaurant near me? Things like that, especially as we see more voice search happening. So Answer the Public actually has a really cool way to show you, if you just type in CPA or CPA near me, it's going to give you all the different questions that people ask in relation to that. And then you'll want to have content on your site that answers those questions, right? So we're going to get into content a little bit more later. You can see this example here of window treatments. If you see lots of window treatment stuff on here, that's because my family owns a window treatment business and we do a lot of work in the industry. But this is, I'll just give you this example here because I had someone come to me and say, don't put the word blinds on my site or window treatments. I like to use window coverings. I think it's more high end. And I actually pulled the search volume for them in their local market and was able to say, hey, window coverings only gets 10 searches a month in your market, whereas blinds is getting thousands of searches. We need to focus on blinds. But really you want to incorporate all the keywords that people are searching into your site. So next, this is the content part. You want to make sure you have a separate page for each product, service, or solution that you offer on your website. So you do not want to have a website that just has our services page or our products that has everything listed all in one place. And now I'm telling you this, and this is just long-term best practice. You will definitely, it may take some time. Don't feel like you have to go out and have 40 pages on your website immediately, but best practice, you will want to have this. You will rank better on Google. You will get more leads. So if you have a keyword you want to rank for, your website needs to be the best resource on the web in your local market for that particular keyword. You'll want to have 500 or more words per page. And we see this all the time. A lot of people come to us and they're like, why is this CPA, or why is this, other business ranking ahead of me? My website looks better than them. What's going on? I have more reviews than them. What's going on? Sometimes we'll get in there and we'll see, well, hey, they've got 20 more pages on their website that share a lot more information about what each product and service is. So when someone's typing CPA near me, Google sees this website as a better resource for people looking for CPA services, right? So, and that applies to every industry. So Jeremy, you're saying a landing page isn't good. So a landing page or just a one-page website is a great thing sometimes if you're running paid ads. So Google pay-per-click ads, social media ads, anything like that. If you have just one product or service or offer that you want people to focus on, having one page is a great way to do that. Having a landing page is also a heck of a lot better than having no website. Definitely don't feel like it, especially people, if they're new in business, they're like, listen, I don't want to spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on a new website. I just want a landing page. That is a great start. But when we talk about best practice, particularly for ranking on Google, the sites that have more content and more pages are always going to rank better and rank higher. So what we actually have a lot of people do at Creekmore, because we build a lot of landing pages, especially for newer businesses, is they'll start out with a landing page and then they can either go in and add their own content. The builder we use is drag and drop. It's wonderful. Or we can build out content for them over time, but that way they're not paying all up front for something that, is really expensive. So our landing pages start at $9.95. So it's an easier starting point for sure. So good question. So I'm going to just share this example with you. So it's a competitive market. So this is daycares in Austin, Texas. And this was one of the top ranking daycares, kindercare. And I'm going to share with you a daycare that was ranking about 8 or 9 pages back on Google. So no one will ever find it. And it's this one. So notice this one's called Elements. I'm sure it's a wonderful daycare and preschool, but they only have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages on their website. They don't have pages about all the different programs or resources for parents. So notice here, and I'm sure it's taken KinderCare many years to get here, but it's well worth it for them because they rank in the top on Google and they have 4 centers nearby in Austin. This is a huge part of the way that they've grown their business and generated leads. So they have details and pages, separate pages that outline what is in every program by age, all their additional programs that they have. If you go under resources, they tell you about childcare costs, how to pay tuition support, lots of great resources. And then their blog even has some really neat things like pandemic parenting, how to find the silver lining. You are loved, 14 positive affirmations that show children you care. So they're just going above and beyond to be resources to their consumers, right? Compared to this one. So again, it can be a work in progress. Don't feel like if you have an 8-page website or even a 1-page website that's bad. It is a great foundation. And in some industries, I will say, you don't need a site built out this much, right? If your competitors don't have sites built out this extensively, you may very well be able to rank on the first page of Google with a single landing page website. So that's something that we do. So I'm going to share at the end all the free resources that we have for you guys, but we can actually do a competitor and market analysis to tell you what you'll need. So again, might just be a landing page and some reviews, and you might not need the full-blown build out of all this content. So do you see law firm websites with many pages? We do, Jeanette, yes. We work with a few law firms who have lots of pages, and actually one of our core responsibilities as their marketing is to build out pages for them. So, so yeah, I would say it all comes down to if this is the industry that you're in, would be going to Google and doing some searches to see if you're ranking in the top 3 or even top 10, because if you're in the top 10, you can do some work, add some more content, get some more reviews, do some SEO, and push yourself up. But if you're like this company here, who is 8 or 9 pages back, you're not really going to have a shot at ranking unless you build out more content and do some more advanced SEO work. So we can tell you what, like I said, where you fall in that and where you need to go next. So we've already talked about this, so I won't go too far into detail, but I will say it till I'm blue in the face. Get reviews, get lots of them. So Google My Business actually has an easily shareable link that you can just grab and send to all your customers. And then be sure to respond to all of your reviews publicly. This is super important, especially if you get a negative review. A negative review that is responded to in a way that's professional and that shows that you care and that you want to make it right can be more believable than having perfect 5-star reviews. So don't be upset if you get a negative review or two. It can actually help you get more customers. A 4.6, 4.7, 4.8 can sometimes be better and drive more leads than a perfect 5.0 rating. So if you'd like help responding to any difficult reviews, this is like my favorite thing to do with the team. We'll sit down and think of the best way to answer it. But in a lot of cases, it can just be like, hey, we're so sorry for your experience. We want to make this right. Could you please give us a call at this phone number so that we can sort this out for you? And sometimes the owner will even sign it like, hey, this is the owner. So sorry, I want to make this right. Call me. And I will tell you a lot, you do want to go back, even if there are reviews from 2+ years ago, and say this, because people are still seeing that and will still see that you never responded. And then they're immediately going to think, wow, okay, if I have an issue with this company, they're not going to care to fix it. So go back and respond to all of them. And I will say in our experience, we always use that, hey, give us a call at the end of the review response. They very rarely do call. So good news. If for the most part, I would say you're not going to get a bunch of angry phone calls after that. But if you do, a chance to make it right? If they're saying it online, they're probably saying it to other people in the community. So good to squash that. So Jeremy, you asked, as far as Google My Business, if you don't have a physical location, is that bad? So it's not bad, but you'll just have to work a little bit harder is the short answer. Google does typically favor businesses with storefronts, especially if you're looking for, like, I'll just use the example of furniture store near me. Let's say that you're an online retailer and you sell furniture online, or maybe you go in and you're a designer and you don't have a storefront, but you do in-home consultations and help people pick out furniture. So you want to show up when people are searching for furniture. In Google's mind, you are not a furniture store near the searcher, right? You're not a store. So they're going to be favored. So in that case, you will have to work harder with content typically. You'll have to work harder with reviews. You'll want to do some more advanced SEO with the keywords and the metadata on the back end as well. So that's something that we can do a free analysis for you and let you know where you stand. Sometimes we have people without physical locations who kill it and rank in the top 3 without having a ton of work. It just totally depends on the competition, but it's a good question. And Google actually now, just FYI, has recently switched to now you just put your service areas in. Instead of putting like your home address and maybe hiding it. I know a lot of people did that. If they didn't have a physical location, you don't have to do that anymore, which is nice. And then advanced SEO. So I won't dive into this, but in many cases, especially if you have steep competition, you're going to need more advanced SEO. You're going to need someone to get in there and be doing the back-end SEO, meta titles and descriptions, links, citation building. There's lots to do with technical SEO. And if you have completed steps 1 through 4 and you're still not ranking in the top 3, we can run a technical SEO site audit for you and let you know what more advanced help you might need there. So next, we're going to go quicker through these because I want to save some room for questions at the end, but pay-per-click advertising. So when it comes to pay-per-click advertising on Google, Bing is also a great platform to do it on. Although Google gets significantly more search volume, so if you have to pick one, do Google. But you're going to want to start by developing your keyword list. So you're going to want to use the Google Ads Keyword Planner to develop that list and get keyword ideas. It'll tell you estimated how much you're going to need to bid on specific keywords. And then you can even set bid caps so that you're not spending a fortune. For example, an HVAC company in Cincinnati came to us and they said, they're like, pay-per-click doesn't work. You have to pay $50 to get a click for HVAC. And that was true. But when we did the keyword research, it's like HVAC company near me is still getting 20, 30 searches a month. And it's only $6 for a click, let's say. So you're able to find which keywords are most affordable because you don't always want to bid on the highest search keywords if they're going to be a fortune and eat up your budget. And I will say, just if anyone needs help with this, we can help you with this. So don't feel like you have to do this all on your own. But if you are, I want to walk you through the steps. So next, you're going to want to create ad text. The easiest way to do this is to just search for your keywords on Google and see what your competitors are doing. So how can you learn from that? How can you build on this? And how can you make yours even better, right? What things are they offering and what sets you apart from them that you can incorporate into your ads? Next, you're going to want to use keyword insertion. So this is a more advanced thing on Google Ads, but actually allows you to dynamically update what your ads say in them based on exactly what people are searching. So you got to be careful with the way you set your keywords up here. But in this example, someone's searching for a very specific toner cartridge. And look here, this ad dynamically inserted that exact search term into the ad. So it's very high likelihood someone's like, oh, that's exactly what I was looking for. Click. So it can really help with your conversion rate there. And one of the most important things on Google Ads is to have negative keywords. So did you know that the average Google Ads account wastes 76% of its budget bidding on wrong search terms? So I'll give you the example, duck blinds. Someone thinking that they're just advertising window treatments is actually, when people search duck blinds, they're showing up. Shades Glasses Store, Blinds Walmart, typically not a customer for a high-end custom window treatment. So to protect your campaign from this, you want to develop a list of negative keywords. Those tell Google what you don't want to show up for, right? So you don't want to show up for duck. You don't want to show up for glasses. Any keywords, and you can find as you're running these ads, you'll see the search terms, and you can see if there's anything irrelevant in there. Go ahead and pop that in as a negative keyword. It's something you should be building upon every month, or that the agency you work with should be keeping an eye on and building upon every month for you. And then take it to the next level. This can be very time consuming. So if you want to work with a person or agency who has experience, we are certified. There are also lots of other agencies locally and globally that are certified. So here's a link here that you can look into to see that. So next, diving on into social media. If you are doing social media, of course, it's great to have a presence on every social media account, but it's best, especially if you're doing it yourself or with a smaller team, to choose one or two social networks to focus on. So where are your target customers most likely to be? Are they going to be on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn? So again, you can still post on all of them or have a profile on all of them, but you should focus your efforts and advertising dollars on the top one or two sites your customers are spending the most time on. And if you want to know what that is, you're not entirely sure, we can do an analysis for you and let you know. So choosing a posting schedule. So here are just some examples of how often to post. Now, I will say these are just general examples, but in a lot of cases, Facebook, 1 to 2 times per day. We have a lot of people who just do 5 times a week or even 3 times a week, and that's completely appropriate. Really depends on your industry. You don't want to hear from your plumber 1 to 2 times a day. So, and here are just some other examples. So for Instagram, again, depending on what content you're posting, 1 to 3 times a day is appropriate, or just a couple times a week, but you want to be active on there. You want to be using stories. And yeah, here are the other benchmarks for some of the other networks. And then, of course, posting once per week is better than never. So if you're overwhelmed with this, don't feel like you have to, do all of the things here. So next, you're going to want to engage your audience. So engagement posts are created for the purpose of entertaining and engaging fans rather than advertising to them. So 3 out of every 4 posts should be engaging, but you can creatively incorporate your products and services in an engaging way. And if you do that, that's the sweet spot. So just some fun little things like sharing pets from your team around the office. Here are some of our pets. Oreo posted something about making, have you made Oreo dipped cookies with sprinkles? Just fun stuff like that that'll actually get people commenting, liking, whatever it might be. Lucky Brand posted this last year. When does season 2 of 2020 begin? I don't love season 1. So just little goofy things to get people engaged. And then lastly, you're going to want to boost your posts. So if you spend $1, $2, $3 on every post that you put out and boost it, you will reach thousands more people in your audience. And you can target by specific location, demographic, or even interests. So for example, if you're looking for high earners, you can target people who are interested in luxury goods, people who are frequent abroad travelers. There's lots of really interesting and kind of creepy ways that you can target people on Facebook and Instagram. So moving right along, these next two are pretty quick, but very important to cover. So retargeting and geofencing. Now, I will say in the scheme of things, before I jump into this, the most important things we have already covered. So if you have additional room in your budget and you want to, or you just want to totally dominate your market, you want to be everywhere, don't want to give your competitors a chance, these two services are really great. They're also great in certain industries and not in others. So I'll get into that a little bit more. But just know that these are the core things that you'll want to focus on. These are secondary. Now, retargeting ads. So these are the ads that follow you around once people have left your website. And they're important because 97% of visitors that leave a website never return. So I know you all have probably seen this before. Some people are annoyed by it. Annoying, but effective, I will say. Especially if you like abandoned your cart when you're about to purchase something and then it starts following you around. Finish checking out. But so the user visits the site, leaves, they log on later and they see your retargeting ad. They're captivated by the ad and we turn them into a buyer, right? And some people see this as an insurance policy for their marketing, especially when we talk about, I told you about that company that was spending $3,000 a month in pay-per-click ads. It's a lot, right? So if they're investing that amount of money to spend a couple $100s a month, retargeting those people is kind of like an insurance policy to be like, okay, if they leave, let's say they were busy at work when they did a quick search and then they weren't able to finish browsing the site, I'm not going to lose them forever or wait for them to do another search. I get to proactively follow them around, which is pretty cool. And then geofencing utilizes a combination. So it's allowing us to laser focus and run ads to a very specific location. So we can geofence your competitors' stores. Let's say if your competitors have storefronts, we can run ads to people who walk into their stores. It uses a combination of GPS, cellular data, and Wi-Fi data to ensure accuracy. So they walk into the competitor store, they see your ads with an extra 15% off. They walk into your store instead and buy. And now I will say with geofencing, so you can geofence events, you can geofence specific neighborhoods, lots of really cool things you can do. But you also want to think about the buying cycle, right? Especially if you're doing competitors. So for example, so we work with window treatment stores and also we work with a lot of paint stores. So let's say someone walks into a paint store, your competitor, they probably bought paint when they walked in, right? Whereas with high-end custom-made window treatments that are expensive and thousands of dollars, they don't typically buy when they walk into that store. They might set an appointment, they might not, they might just come to browse. So geofencing is much better in some industries where the buying cycle is a little bit longer than it is in an industry where the buying cycle is super quick and you probably aren't going to convert people. So just important to note. So any suggestions, Sarah, I'm looking at your question, for getting around Facebook's restrictions for political content. It won't let us boost an ad for a water heater workshop because we have climate in our name unless I give Facebook a copy of my passport. Yeah, they have really cracked down on a lot of things because they got in trouble for quite a few of their targeting options and other things. So yeah, I think that you're in a tricky spot. I have had people literally rename themselves on social media and even change their branding name to get around this if social media is like a core foundational part of how they plan to grow their business. Now, there might be ways, I don't know if it'll let you do this, if it'll let you slightly change the name of the workshop, if you'd be open to doing that, where you could get around that, or if it's your actual business name. But I do have people who have given Facebook copies of their passports and business documents and other things. I'll leave that up to you if you're comfortable with that. I don't know of anyone who's had issues from doing that yet, but I know that's a touchy subject. So it's a good question. And then lastly, I have to hit on this, and guys, go ahead and start putting questions in if you have any that we haven't gotten to yet. But essentially, if you do any sort of marketing, if you invest in a website at all, you've got to have a strong process to nurture leads. I cannot tell you how many of our clients, and it's very disturbing, invest hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month in marketing. And we're running ads for them on Google. And we have call tracking phone numbers so that they can see how many calls they're getting from their ads, right? Well, it'll record the calls if they want it to. And so we can go in and see. We just had someone recently who is spending an exorbitant amount on ads for a multi-location company who we got in and found out they were only answering 14% of the phone calls that were coming in during business hours. They thought they had a rock star who always answered the phone, and they did not. So a lot of times it's a customer service thing that you need to focus on, but always answering the phone when your leads come in is so, so important if you get phone leads. So yeah, response time overall, whether it's phone, email, has a significant impact on appointment and sales volume. For most of our clients, over 50% of customers who reach voicemail don't leave a message. And on average, 12.5% of missed calls are lost sales. And I'll end with texting being very important. Only 20% of emails are opened, 99% of texts are opened. Essentially, if you're not texting your leads or your customers throughout the sales process, especially if you have a longer buying cycle, you really should consider it. It is the new norm. And I'm going to skip on past this. We have finished it all, the 8 pillars. Good job, guys. So I'll end with the free resources that anyone on this webinar can take advantage of. The comprehensive website analysis. So this will analyze your entire website and tell you usability, SEO, all the things that can be improved. We normally charge $295 for that, but that is free. We're also giving away a free website speed report. That's a $95 value. That's the one I showed you. Kentucky Sports Radio will tell you exactly how to speed up your site. A digital marketing consultation. So actually a couple of people on this webinar are from my team. They're business development managers, and they will do a free 2-part complimentary consultation where they look into your competitors, look into everything going on with your company, your market, social media, website, SEO, and they will tell you exactly what you need to do to get ahead of your competitors. And you can take that and self-implement. You can hire another agency, or you can hire us. It truly is just something that is a value add that we want to give back to KSBDC and the community. KSBDC has been a huge part of Creekmore's growth. We are actually a client of KSBDC, so we've done the consulting, and that's been amazing. And 2 other things, local listing analysis, and then that 50% discount on Convert Boost as well. So thank you guys so much. Tanya, I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you, Chelsea. That was so informative and just a wealth of knowledge there in 1 hour's time. It did look like there was one more question about businesses for spam calls. Do you want to tackle that one?
Yes. So unfortunately, I think there are places you can go to put your phone number on a do not call list online, but I know that there's no perfect solution for that. I get 1 or 2 spam calls a day, and it is just an unfortunate part of the world we live in. But if anyone else has any ideas or feedback that I didn't mention, put it in the chat. I'd love to know.
That is a tricky thing that you do need to be aware of. Well, as always, we really appreciate all the support you've been for the Kentucky Small Business Development Centers. And I know that we're going to put in a chat in the chat, a little survey. It won't take very long. Give us some suggestions about future webinars, or even give us some feedback about how you think we're doing. We would take any and both of those. And again, thank you, Chelsea. Thank you for your time and your offering. And I hope everyone had a great holiday weekend.
Thank you, Tanya. Bye, everyone. Thank you again so much.
Thank you for joining today's webinar. At the Kentucky SBDC, we know small businesses are the heart of our economy. That's why our goal is to help business owners start, grow, and succeed in Kentucky. Find out more about how our no-cost business coaching, training, and resources can help your business. Visit us at KentuckySBDC.com.